Alright, YouTube. Just want to go over some of this week's events. So, Donald Trump's order for immigration, which we all know was under guidance, it was correct in terms of the statute that Trump can adhere to. Trump's immigration order was not unconstitutional, like it's saying. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals did rule against Trump. However, out of 10 Ninth Circuit courtroom appeals are reversed on the Supreme Court level. This was written by the Daily Caller, I think, and then also confirmed by PolitiFact, which PolitiFact in itself is extremely biased. I would not try it. There is a website called politifactbias.com. Check that out. PolitiFact lies by omission. That means if they pick 100 things Trump says and 100 things Hillary says, they might judge all of Trump's 100 words, whereas they might only judge 50 of Hillary's words. Because it is physically impossible, no matter how big your company is, to fact check every single sentence that Trump or Hillary was saying during the campaign. It's not possible. I mean, 3,000 words a day? There's not possible. So they choose what they want to check and what they don't. And that's what skews their faults. That's what skews their apparatus. That creates the aggregate that Trump is a huge liar because everything he says are lies. Well, if you pick the items that you know he has been inconsistent on, of course it's going to appear like he is nothing but a compulsive liar. You could do the same for Hillary. You could do the same for anybody. So do not trust PolitiFact. PolitiFactBias.com is a good site. Check it out. Either way, I think even with 8 Supreme Court justices, this stay by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals will be overturned at the Supreme Court if Trump wants to take it there. There is rumors that Trump is actually working on a new executive order, that will adhere to the immigration status, all the same stuff he was doing before, but he would modify it a little bit so this type of political fiasco can't happen. Because we all know the judge's opinion was political. Had nothing to do with the law nor any statutes. It was strictly political. I think we all know that. So, we'll see what happens with that. Other news, there is still being fake news spread that you might have heard Trump said he's willing to invade Mexico to take care of those bad hombres down there. This was spread by the Associated Press, and they went crazy on it. They spread it everywhere. So much so that the public polling policy did a poll, and that was one of their questions. Do you think it's right that Donald Trump should invade Mexico? And 7% said yes, 83% said no. And I'm reading that, I'm kind of thinking to myself, what the hell are they talking about? If you even do a quick Google search, Donald Trump invades Mexico, you will see article after article debunking it. The Mexican government straight up said this is fake news. This did not happen. You're reading into this. They even said that was fake. But now what happens like that? What happens is that everyone has already heard the news, and that's all they remember now. The sensationalism of the original story is far greater than the retraction of the mistake. It should be the other way around. When a mistake is made, you should do a huge, profound amount of news reporting to let everyone know, hey, there was a mistake. However, that destroys your ratings. That destroys your credibility. And that's why they don't want to do it. So now this has influenced people's opinions of Donald Trump invading Mexico. People think he actually wants to do that. People think he actually said bad hombres because the Associated Press made fake news, a false story, put it out there, and now it's so widely believed that polling organizations are actually including that into their polling. That's crazy. That is completely crazy when you actually think about that. The abysmal behavior of the mainstream media is insane. And there are so many more examples where this happens, but it's all fake news. But nowadays, I have opinion on this. What I think they're doing is that they are deliberately making fake news like that, like the AP did, a fake story like that. They know that it might get debunked later, but by then, the damage will already be done. you can't take it back then. Everyone will know, well, hey, Trump did this, Trump said this, Trump blah, blah, blah. Well, when you finally do retract it, by then it's already in everyone's minds that they don't need to go do their own independent research into it. I always say there are two sides to every story, no matter what. Doesn't matter what political affiliation you align with. Doesn't matter who you voted for. There's always two sides to a story. So if you turn the Fox News and you hear them say something about Donald Trump, blah, 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 do your other research. Make sure that's adequate. Make sure that is true. Likewise, and this is really important with the liberal media, because the liberal media, they are all in it together. I mean, the liberal media is far more vast than the right-wing media is. Like, far more vast. And they augment their ratings by basically working together to attack a common enemy. In this case, it's Trump or Sean Hannity, people like that. So be wary of all news, but be especially wary when it comes to the liberal media. MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CNN. Those are the main four ones. If you talk about online media, Huffington Post. Do not, if you want, I do read it just kind of because it's really funny. I mean, the Huffington Post puts communist Russia to shame. I mean, that is the most biased journalism I've ever read in my life. I think there's only like maybe two of them there that contribute, that actually do some impartial, non-biased journalism. H.A. Goodman and whoever else. But, so, I think those are things to come. Other news, though. Republicans in Congress, who I can't stand, especially the neocons like Lindsey Graham and John McCain, they are taking their sweet-ass time about adopting tax reform. Trump wanted it by the end of the year. And now it's looking that this might not even happen. Why? This is what creates jobs. This is what brings businesses back. This is what helps the economy. There's so many positive aspects that lowering the tax code and lowering the tax brackets and simplifying the tax code can do. This is imperative. This would be one of the first things you should do, even before Obamacare. Yes, Obamacare did fail. Do I believe in universal health care? I do. Only if it can be properly paid for, and it cannot be properly paid for until we end the Federal Reserve. Until then, we shouldn't even bother with it. We should go the libertarian route. Let's do the free market. Let the free market work, because the free market works. It does. But no one wants to use it anymore. They want crony capitalism. They want corporatism. There's a big difference in corporatism and regular capitalism. A huge difference. We haven't been truly capitalist since JFK. Reagan was pretty capitalist, but even he started devolving into more of a crony capitalist state. And now America, the economic force in America is completely dilapidated. There's no more sustainable growth of the economy. There's no more sustainable amount of jobs for everyone to have. And we all know that health insurance primarily comes from jobs. So we get more jobs, we get more health insurance. Either way, Obamacare does need to be completely removed, but it should not be removed until the free market or whatever plan is set up is in place. Republicans had 8 years to create a proposal, create a plan, and now they're stalling. Why? Because they don't have a plan. They also increased national debt by $9.7 trillion in a budget plan. They also want to go to war with Russia. People like Lindsey Graham and John McCain. John McCain called Russia's alleged hack of the election an act of war, and we should respond in kind. I still say alleged because I go back to that Buck Sexton episode I brought up before. One of the guys who worked for some kind of intelligence services, he said the reason why they knew it was Russia because Russia willingly left evidence behind that indicated they were the ones who were responsible for the cyber intrusion. Well, Putin then denied it publicly. So if you're going to willingly leave evidence behind to show, hey, this is me, and then deny it publicly, it just contradicts each other. It doesn't make sense. And let's be honest here. Hacking is a fine art. It really is. It's a fine art. So it's not that hard for hackers to be able to cloud their identity. If they can obscure their identity, which most of them can, if they can obscure their identity, isn't it reasonable to assume that they can also plant information that they can throw you off their trail? I mean, for instance, someone hacked my emails to say, for example, couldn't they email someone else I know and pretend to be me? You know, it's stuff like this that people want to jump the gun. People are so desperate to find some kind of link between Trump and Putin, because if they can establish a link between Trump and Putin, they think it will help them in 2018 and will help them in 2020. What's more, they can maybe start garnering more evidence for the, in their minds, likely event they will impeach Trump, which won't happen. Representative Waters from California said she thinks Trump should be impeached because his relationship with Putin, who is invading Korea, Putin's invading Korea. And then Nancy Pelosi, wow, she's a nutcase. She said that she doesn't get along with President Bush. She couldn't get that name right. The Democratic Party would be way better off on focusing their support on people like Tulsi Gabbard and that one teacher guy. He, I think, ran last year, but he dropped out right away. Forgot his name. That's what they should focus on. The old Democratic senators and representatives in Congress are no good at all. They're absolutely no good at all. And I'm predicting, people think that 2018, the Democrats are going to take over everything because Trump is doing such a poor job. You wait. You wait and see. As of right now, if the election was held tomorrow, I maintain that Republicans will still control Congress. Once Trump's policies actually get enacted, he will do fine. The Republicans will do fine in 2018. They will. But if the congressional Republicans sit on their ass, don't want to do anything, then it might hurt Trump. Then it might hurt the Republican Party. I don't consider Trump a Republican. He ran under the Republican Party because if he ran as an independent, he probably would have lost. It is so unlikely for independent to win. And until we have more, I can see this changing now though, because people are fed up with the partisan system. They're fed up with the two-party political system. They want something else. That's why they wanted Bernie to run as an independent. Bernie would run as a socialist. Oh, by the way, did you see the Bernie Sanders and Ted Cruz debate on Obamacare? Ted Cruz destroyed him. I mean, I like Bernie. I don't like his policies. I think his policies will be the end of America if, God forbid, he is ever elected president and incorporates them, institutes them. But I do like, his personality. I think that he actually does care about the American people. And in his own warped mind, he thinks that his policies would actually work. They won't, but he actually believes it. So he is honest with himself with that. And I kind of like him for that. I admit it. But that debate, he was arguing emotion, and Ted Cruz was arguing facts. And facts will always beat emotion. Whenever Cruz would bring up facts, he would just say, well, U.S. is the only advanced country that doesn't have. Is it a right, Ted Cruz? Is healthcare a right, Ted Cruz? Then Ted Cruz brought up a great answer regarding the Bill of Rights with that question. It was great. I'm not really a Ted Cruz fan. I would have rather have him over Trump. I think he would have been a better president, Trump. I think he would have been a friend and an ally to the free market. It didn't happen, though. I am glad Trump won over Hillary. I do kind of like Ted Cruz. But I have to say that even if I didn't like Ted Cruz, even if I was a huge Bernie supporter, I could still not deny that Ted Cruz wiped the floor with Bernie. Like, it was actually a bloodbath. There's a few questions where a woman asked Bernie, what can I do? I own some haircut areas. I have 49 employees. Well, to get 50 employees, I have to give them health care. But how can I give them health care without raising my prices or lowering my wages for my customers and for my employees respectively? And Bernie's like, I'm going to say an answer you don't want to hear. And that is, they deserve to have health care. And that was essentially it. That was essentially his whole answer, that they deserve to have health care. Well, Bernie, she just said she can't do it unless she actually shuts down. Yes, she can maybe lower her prices to provide healthcare for employees, but then people are going to go to other places. That's the free market. That's how it works. If something's more expensive, you don't go to the more expensive place. You're going to find the cheapest place available. That's how the free market, that's how the economy works. And he doesn't understand this. He thinks government is a solution. Government is the problem. Government. Ted Cruz in a debate brought up some more statistics, how like the big pharmaceutical companies increase their like net worth by billions more, and premiums all went up, like everything, because Bernie helped to write the ACA with Obama, and everything that happened, Obama's ACA and Bernie's ACA, led to a devolution of the healthcare system. It was complete failure. Obamacare is a failure, which brings up the fundamental aspect. The theory was that, because Obama does have past Marxist tendencies, his preacher, past statements he said about how he wants to also tax capital gains, despite it possibly decreasing revenue. He still wants to tax them because it's fair. That was one of the many, but he does have communist or socialistic tendencies. So the theory is that Obamacare was created because they knew that it would fail. And by then, Obamacare would be so robust, so vast, so convoluted that Congress would have no choice, but instead of repeal it, they would have to keep modifying and modifying and modifying over and over. So in essence, the ACA would stay there. Fundamentally, essentially, it would stay the way it is. Over time, just get more repairs, more repairs, more repairs. However, this is predicated upon if Hillary got involved, if Hillary won the election. Hillary did not win the election. So now Obama's plan, or his alleged plan, we don't know if it's true or not. It seems like it is. It seems like that was his goal from the get-go. So let's say for the sake that it was his plan. Obama's plan of incorporating universal health care by completely destroying the healthcare system from the ACA and the horrible statutes and the guidelines and regulations that came with it, that's no longer an option for him. Trump is doing the complete opposite of what Obama wants to do. And he hates that. If that is indeed the case. Which, day by day, it seems that is actually what's happening more and more. That the ACA was created to fail, so the big government can take over, just come in, clean the mess up, and give universal health care to all. So that was kind of stuff that happened last week or two. Just kind of want to go over it. Some interesting stuff. I think I pulled a muscle a little bit ago, which kind of sucks, but what can you do? And I'm done.